Golf arrived in the historic Colorado coal mining town of Trinidad in 1915 with the opening of a 9-hole course influenced by Donald Ross. But it took almost 40 years for a local player to put a stamp on the game that was as indelible as the one that appears on the bricks paving Trinidad's streets and sidewalks. The son of an electrician, Gene Torres went from feeding the furnace at the Trinidad course to fueling his passion for golf as a caddy at age 12. Given clubs by various golfers, Gene taught himself how to play.
I saw Gene play starting when I was 8 years old. He was about 15. I used to watch him play every evening with my uncle, who was a scratch golfer in Trinidad. They had a daily round at 5 o'clock in the summertime where they would play until dark. And I was lucky enough to either be caddying for my uncle or just privileged enough to watch. But when Gene was 15, instead of caddying for the guys, he was asked to join them. And from that point on, I became a big fan.
By age 15, Gene had won the first of 2 Trinidad Labor Day Invitationals and qualified for his first of 3 international JC junior golf tournaments, one of the country's most prestigious junior golf events. In his 3rd JC at Georgia's Columbus Country Club in 1955, he'd tie for 10th with Jack Nicklaus. However, his greatest highlight as a junior golfer came when he won the 1956 Colorado State High School Championship at Greeley Country Club. After a year at Adams State College and a tour in the U.S. Navy, Gene returned to Trinidad and married Dodie, his wife for life. In 1962, they headed south on I-25 to the town of Las Vegas, where Gene would spend 43 years coaching the New Mexico Highlands University and Robertson High School golf teams. He made such an impact on his players and the management of the course that the golf facility now bears his name. Gene became a PGA professional in the early 1960s and inspired more than one of his golfers to do the same.
Stayed all 4 years, loved every minute of it. Gene was such a good player and a great teacher. He had one of the best imaginations I've ever seen as far as shot making and teaching. We'd be out on the driving range and we'd hit golf shots. He says, okay, see that cloud, that popcorn cloud up there. Okay, I want you to hit the top of the cloud and make a draw 10 feet to the left. You know? Pretty soon we're up there and that's what we're doing. Let me see a 10-foot cut. So, okay, we'll hit the 10-foot cut. Well, then pretty soon he says, all right, let me see a 2-inch cut. Like, what? A 2-inch cut? Yeah, just hit a 2-inch cut. Well, pretty soon the ball's out there, and is it dropping to the right like 2 inches? I don't know, but it sure felt like it. Just in your body, you just felt like it. And he made you feel like you're hitting the shots. I've been a professional now 37 years, actually 33 in the PGA. It was my apprenticeship, was the extra 4 years. Obviously, watching him teach, watching him and learning from him, there's not a day goes by in a golf lesson that I've given over the course of the 35 years that I've done. There's something in his teachings or something that he's said that influences our golf lesson.
Throughout his time as a coach, Gene never stopped competing and winning. His imaginative shot making led to more than 80 victories across the country. In this time zone alone, he won more than 30, including 5 New Mexico Opens, 3 Navajo Trail Opens in Durango, and 2 Rocky Mountain Opens in Grand Junction. In 1972, 1 year after losing the Colorado Open by a single stroke to 8-time PGA Tour champion Dave Hill, Gene captured the Colorado Open by besting a field loaded with 22 future Colorado Golf Hall of Famers. That year, Gene made the cut at the PGA Championship at Oakland Hills and won a 1972 Lincoln Continental after shooting a course record 62 during the Pro-Am at the PGA Club Professional Tournament at Pinehurst. In all, he played in 14 PGA Tour events, twice finishing in the top 5. He qualified for the 1973 U.S. Open and hit the 1978 PGA Championship's first tee shot. Speaking of memorable shots,
when he played in the U.S. Open qualifier in 1971. In my estimation, he hit the greatest golf shot I've ever seen. He was in a threesome with Dow Finsterwald and Ed Byman, and I happened to be watching. It was on the 12th hole at Denver Country Club, par 5. There's a big tree right in front of the green, maybe about 60 yards in front. Gene's second shot hit right behind that tree, and he appeared to be stymied. There didn't seem to be any shot for him to execute one way or the other, left or right. I thought he was going to make a double bogey. Gene always stalked his prey like a lion, and he stalked that shot. He walked around one way, then the other. Then all of a sudden he just pulled the club out of his bag. I didn't know what it was. It looked like a wedge. He turned it upside down, and he hit the shot left-handed as hard as he could. I remember that force of that. The ball just took off across the fairway, and it looked like it was heading somewhere weird, and then all of a sudden it looked like it had a rubber band, and it just zoomed right back toward the green. It hit in front of the green and stopped, and he made a birdie out of the thing.
Gene Torres passed away in 2005 at the age of 67. His nickname, The Rock, described his solid game and unflappable demeanor, but it also suggests his monumental presence in his hometown of Trinidad and in Colorado golf history, which is why we welcome him this evening to the Colorado Golf Hall of Fame.